Okay guys, we are back with part 2. We're going to stick this thing on the back of an airplane. Okay guys, since last we met, we're installing a replacement. We're rebuilding the tail section on a Cessna 140, 120, 140, same aircraft, basically in this area. And last time you saw this, it was bare aluminum. A few other pieces were not installed. This rear shoe was not installed. The bulkhead was not installed, rudder bulkhead. Those have all been installed. And this piece has been assembled, drilled, disassembled, re-drilled, assembled, disassembled, deburred, assembled about 4 or 5 times on the aircraft. So what we're going to do now, we've got this pretty well set. As you can see, we have a Cleco in every hole, So everything's looking great. What we're going to do now is we're going to put you on time lapse. We're going to Cleco this assembly into the aircraft, and then that will make it easier to rivet this thing together. So here we go. Actually, maybe not. Maybe we'll rivet this. I think we may rivet this together. We may rivet this together in the on the bench. That might be a better way, because that way we can get the top on. Anyway, hang on, and you're going to see this kind of rivet. We're going to do slow-mo or stop action, whatever you call it, because it's just riveting. So anyway, next time you see this will probably be a riveted assembly getting ready to go in the fuselage. Okay, folks, I got a little bit ahead of you. Just for a minute, I was kind of preparing and got kind of carried away. Long story short, all I did was take out every other Cleco on these 2 rows here, and then what I did is cleaned out the holes. We normally run a drill through there. A lot of times with parts that have prime and all that, even though they're nominal, they're not nominal. They could be nominal. They'll have a little bit of paint, and it's going to keep the rivet from going in straight. Biggest thing is you want the rivet to go in absolutely normal to the skin of the aircraft that you're putting stuff in. If you put it in crooked, you'll get a crooked result every time on the back end. It's going to look like heck. So you want to make sure that's square. So we did that, and then what we do is we go and I put rivets in. It's already filled. So, and then I put tape on them. Tape isn't to protect the rivets. The tape is there to keep them in the hole so that I can shoot this whole row. I'll just zip right along. I'm going to start in the center and work out. So I'll start here, go forward, and go back. And you always want to do that. You don't want to start at one end, because it can actually stretch and be bad. So that's what we're doing there. Going to get this done, then I'll come back here and shoot the big ones. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put you on stop action, or whatever they call it, fast forward. A couple things going on here. This is my wonderful palace of sheet metal. This is where just a little assembly table. I've got my rivets in little containers here, all sorted out. I've got the ones that I need up where I can get to them right now. Everything else I'm trying to declutter it. My Clecos, you'll see a lot of folks that have a little board with Clecos. They take the Clecos, use them, and they put them back on the board. Well, that's just a time waster. Basically, it's a time waster. If it's you're a hobbyist, you're going to Cleco once a year or two, that's great. What we use is high-tech containers like coffee cans. So I've got my black ones. These are my number 5s. My silver ones, 3s. My copper ones, 4s. And my brass ones here are the 6s. So it's easy. Take them out, throw them in the bucket, then boom, use them again. And you're not spending a bunch of time putting it in a stupid board. I had a stupid board. Don't get me wrong. I built a stupid board, had a stupid board. Ended up selling the stupid board on eBay because it was a time waster. So that's the way I do it. Anyway, everything here has been alodined and primed, so we're getting ready to go. So my goal here is I'm going to shoot these rivet lines here. Once we get that done, then we're going to come in and put this upper deck in. Turn that over. Put this upper deck here in, and then we will put the whole unit in the back of the aircraft. But right now, we're going to do all this so we can get access into these rivets in this area here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to be doing those. This forward row rivets here, this forward row rivets, that is common to the back of the aircraft. And you're going to see us when we get all of this done, then we'll put it on the aircraft, and then we're going to start getting that Clecoed in. So that'll be here a little bit later. But in the meantime, I'm going to turn the fan on, get another cold drink, and rivet. So that's it. It's kind of unimpressive, so I'm going to put you on fast forward, a little ASMR type stuff. I might throw some music in there. I might voice over. I don't know. But right now it's about 95 degrees Fahrenheit in the hangar. I'm going to turn the fan back on and get to it. So hang on. Here we go. Okay, so let's get some riveting done. As you can see, I had the first batch of rivets already taped in place. Kind of nice because you can just go ripping right along, get them all done. There is a bit of preparation, but it also goes pretty quick. Here I'm just removing I've removed the tape off of the rivets I just shot. And now I'm loading it with fresh rivets and all that. So bang, bang, bang. The side rivets on the extrusions go pretty fast because it's just a nice straight line. Again, using the light, double checking everything, making sure everything's according to oil. And then taking all the tape off, making sure it's all cleaned off. And a lot of times you'll have a little bit of residue, tape residue on the rivets. We want to make sure that's off so that we don't have to deal with that come final paint time. We don't want to have any little pieces of tape stuck in the heads of the rivet or anything of that nature. Here I am now doing the number 6 rivets, 3/16, going into the shoe, the rear shoe, the spring shoe, so to speak. And that is slowly going on there. Ended up having to go restart my compressor because I turned it off for lunch, but getting that all in and set. Those are the rivets that were replaced by 1/4-inch bolts. When the predecessor maintenance did the work on the aircraft, when they put the 1/4-inch bolts in, they actually exceeded any logical edge distance for the fasteners, and it was really made everything pretty weak. It was the same thing on the flange for the rear closeout bulkheads. It was basically just a thread as far as having any kind of ability to provide any load path. So it was pretty jacked up. We probably took out over the old shoe, I think, was close to 3 pounds, and we probably took out another half pound of 3/16 bolt, or pardon me, 1/4-inch bolts, and that would have been 24 of them, and nuts and washers that held that shoe on. So it was really a real chore getting that all sorted. So we're getting this all done. A lot of again, the number 6s are a little bit of a chore. Then we've got number 4s down on the bottom of that rear bulkhead and some other stuff. So we're popping between number 4s and number 6s, making sure everything's good. Now we're putting a little fair lead clip for the rudder cables. That's just little 2 number 3 rivets that hold that in. Get that done. And I also talk about that with regards to the current part number for the bushing, or pardon me, the fair lead. So if you need any. Good news is you can get new fair leads. Bad news is if you want to replace them, all you have to do is remove all of the tail feathers. But if you're rebuilding an aircraft, it might be an opportune time to do that. So we're getting that sorted, getting that all done. And again, clean, 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 wipe it off, make it squeaky clean, biggest thing is get all the sweat off. Okay guys, we've got this pretty well shot together, all of the side stuff. Went together great. We're going to talk about that part here in a minute. Every part, or every rivet hole went in nominal, absolutely beautiful. I have one rivet that I'm going to have to cherry max, only because there's a structure behind it and I cannot get to the to bucket, and it's just kind of a weird morphodite thing. So just a thing. One rivet out of about 100 here. I don't have a problem with that. So the next thing I'm going to be doing, the reason we did not put the shelf in is so that we had access to do all this riveting internally here. We could have put the shelf in after this assembly was in the fuselage. However, there's some common rivets here that have to be bucked, and I'd rather shoot them out here than when I'm crawling in the back of the fuselage. So right now, what we're going to be doing, we're going to go back to time lapse. We're going to put this guy in, and then I'll come back and talk with you a little bit. A couple other things. You might see my setup here. This is I've got my each rivet in a little container. That's just the way I do it. The reason I do it this way is a lot of times I'm on the road. I've been doing some volunteer work, and I've got to bring stuff, my sheet metal, kind of portable stuff. We're trying to get away from that, but as a result, this is very portable, so to speak. We talked about the cans and all that. One of the things I also do is I keep, anytime I change a rivet size on this particular unit, I'm going from 3s to 4s to 6s. So anytime I change my drill size, I make sure I change my rivet set so that I don't use the wrong rivet set and muck up some rivet heads. So I try to keep those, anytime I change the rivet set, I know that I'm going a different size rivet. I try to change both the drill and the rivet set at the same time. The other thing is, anytime you can use, let's see where we have it. Anytime you can use the shortest possible rivet set, try to do that. Where's my rivet gun? This is a standard size set. Where is my number 4? Here we go. This is the number 4 I normally use. This is a nice short one. I was using this to get around some Clecos. But anytime you can use the shortest possible rivet set, try to do that. You actually will get some bounce, especially with the really long ones. You will get some bounce. So shortest rivet set whenever you can. Heaviest bar whenever you can. There's a lot of crazy bars out there. I've got, as I was telling you, I've got basically, I had my 2 favorite bars. I call this one my cubular one. It's one I inherited from my dad. I've never seen another one like it. It's just a nice, dense, kind of square with an angle, rectangle-ish bar. Really nice, just a nice bar. Very universal. I've also got this. I call this my flat bar. Similar thought in that it's just a very basic shape and all that. I can shoot it here. I can get into angles. I can shoot basically on all 6 sides of the bar, both these bars. And then this one here, this was gifted to me by our friend Dallas, and I was a naysayer. It's a tungsten. I always thought these are for posers, which I still do. But this is really nice, super dense, super heavy, and especially when you're in some tight spots. I hate to say it, but I'm kind of a believer. However, you drop one of these babies on your toe, you're going to know it. So that's the only downside. Short of that, total greatness, kind of sporty, expensive. You don't need one of these to put your RV together. What you need to do is turn the TV off, get out in the shop and work on it. You don't need this. You can use this bar. This bar here is probably older than I am. I think my dad got it. I think it is World War II surplus. So this thing's going on 80 years old. Still works. Heel and toe, you'll see most sheet metal kits will have a heel and toe. I use this once in a blue moon, believe it or not. And what I try to tell folks is when you're getting if you're getting riveting equipment, buying the kit with all the stuff in it may or may not be a good idea. Like I said, I use these 2 bars. I've used these 2 bars for many, many decades, and it's built helicopters, it's built airplanes, it's built warbirds and all that. So basic shapes. Do I have some weird bars? Yes. Over here, I've got a whole drawer full of weird bars. Some of them have been ground on. Here's a former heel and toe that's been chopped and ground. It's got a funny shape on it. Why? Because I had to shoot a rivet. So some of that, you'll see some of that kind of stuff. And don't be shy about grinding a bar. If you have to grind a bar for a special job, do it. Then go buy another bar if it's the same. It's a catalog bar. Don't fret it. Biggest thing is get the job done. And if you grind a bar and you save 30 minutes. You just paid for 2 bars, so not a big deal. Anyway, what we're going to do now is we're going to put this deck in. We put the cable holders in. There's a little clamp down here. On that note, this is for the Cessna 170 and 140 family. This is used to be the little fairlead. It's a split fairlead. I'll take a picture of it. If you go in the parts manual on a 120, 140, 170, possibly a 190, 195. I don't know. I haven't been in the parts manuals of those aircraft, but definitely in the 170, 120, 140 family. They call it a Formica number 6 fairlead. Cessna has superseded that to an S338-10. Believe it or not, they're available, which is great. They're in their nylon now, so great stuff. I don't have a part number for the circlip, so we'll just safety wire it like the prior folks had it. If I can find the part number for the circlip, I'll put that in the notes down below. So that's what's going on there. Always wear your ear protection. These are cheap, ears are expensive. That's about it for now. So I'm going to get back to riveting this thing together, and we'll try to get this thing stuck in the fuselage tonight. So back to it. Okay, so we've got the can assembly. It's all been primed. We have the bottom riveted, the bottom stringers and all that. It's a little bit awkward in that I've got those 2 big stringers sticking out, so I've just got to be careful when I'm slinging it around, so to speak. But what we're doing here is we are getting the parts Clecoed up, getting that shelf Clecoed in there. There's an extrusion on either side of it, and it was already taken up to number 4 or number 30 rivet holes. So what we're doing is just replacing that. The extrusions were in very good shape. They're original, but they were just taking up one side, so we still had good edge distance, so we felt it appropriate. We would just put those in. So those are all 1/8 inch rivets. The front flange goes onto that bulkhead also with 1/8 inch rivets. So we're getting everything just kind of prepped up, stuffed, whatnot. Now the Clecos, we put those on the inside of the structure. If you notice, they're not sticking out of the outside. The reason is the outside skins still have a number 40 or 3/32 hole, and then I'm back drilling those holes, deburring them, and then filling them with rivets. So that's why the Clecos are they look like they're in the wrong place. Works out pretty well though. So this is basic stuff. Just keep on chugging. Pull the tape off. You can reuse the tape, no big sweat. You don't have to put all new tape on. The tape does help out when you're shooting the rivets. It protects the structure, it protects the rivet. You don't have to use tape. There's no need to, there's no requirement to use tape. It just is handy for me to put a whole mess of rivets in, get all my setup in one session, and then shoot in one session. So for me, it works out pretty well. So just keep on trucking on that. Bang, bang, bang. And again, use your ear protection. It's real important. It's real important. And anybody around you that might be helping you rivet. So just kind of be thoughtful about that. Okay, we've got pretty much this assembly riveted together, except I've got 2 number 5 countersunk on the back here, and those are for the where the rudder slides in. So they're going to have to be flush. No big deal. Number 5s, I don't have a whole lot of number 5s. What I do have is I have 5-12s. What are these? These are 5-8s. I always get long ones on every grip, on every type of rivet, whether it's a 5 round head, a 4 countersunk, whatever I'm using. I always get a batch of long ones, 12s, 16s, and then I've got my rivet cutter here, and I can make any rivet I want if I've got a long one. So we're going to see what we can do here. Make one about that long. Let's see what happens. But we're gonna basically finish up these last 2 rivets. We're gonna get these things cut, and then this thing will be ready to put in the aircraft. So let's see how that came out. Well, that looks about right. Come on. Go in there. I'll go over here. Oh, I like that. Lucky. So we're going to cut 2 rivets and custom cut 2 rivets, and then we'll have this thing ready to stick in the airplane. Okay, back to stop motion, or whatever they call it, time lapse. Okay, see you in a bit. Okay guys, we're about done with this rascal right here. Next step is going to be putting it in the fuselage. We're going to take a little bit of a break and probably come back to you here in about 5 seconds for you, but it might be a day or 2 for me. Going to get a Clecoing in the fuselage and get it all done, and then we'll kind of crawl inside the fuselage and shoot this thing in. But that's basically putting that together. This took about 3 hours to shoot this together. And I was shooting 3s, 4s, 5s, and 6 rivets. Pretty simple, straightforward construction. So on this particular project, everything we've done is epoxy polyamide primed with a allodyne treatment beforehand. So it's all nice, squeaky clean and all that. No corrosion at all. It's all been removed. The pieces have been completely removed. I don't know if you saw the pictures. I'll show some pictures where this thing had a tear in the fuselage, right, I think on this side, the right side, starboard side. They pushed it back in place and filled it with Bondo. This piece here was held on with bolts. Between all the bolts that held it on and all the bolts that were in it, this piece was about 3 pounds. I'll show you pictures of that. This piece, as removed, the cracked, damaged part, was 3 pounds, close to 3 pounds, without the attaching hardware. So it's probably close to 3.5 pounds. This part, when we measured it when we got it in the mail, was about 1 pound. So that's 2 pounds at the length of the fuselage, which is it's crazy. So anyway, this thing is pretty well ready to go in the fuselage. We're going to take, like I said, a little bit of a break, and I'll see you here in just about a minute.
3 days later.
Okay guys, Bruce is going to be the inside guy, or pardon me, outside guy on this one. So he's getting all the rivets as best as we can for now before I crawl into this thing. It's coming on about 90 degrees Fahrenheit. I've got to crawl in there. I do have a little fan. But once I crawl in there, I don't want to really have to crawl out until we're all done. So he's getting all these rivets held in, taped in, and he's already gauged them, figured out how long they are and all that. So he's got that, knocking that out. And then we're going to put the camera on you there. And then let me show you where, pardon the blossom out on the light, show you where I'm going to be walking into, or going into. I am going to go back in there. So that's going to be my home for the next few hours, is to do that. Got to move the cables out of the way. You can see the yellow primer in the very back there. That is everything that we clean and scrub. That's the bulkhead. That bulkhead is the front bulkhead of that can assembly we built up. So anywho, that's going to be my life for the next hour or 2. And then Bruce is going to be shooting the gun out here, and we're going to put it on the stop action, whatever you call it. Anyway, so we'll see you in a little bit. So here we go. I'm in the aircraft. You can see that light flashing in there. That's me bouncing around inside. So anytime you see the light clunking around, it is hot. It's miserable. The inside of the aircraft had a lot of dirt and dust in it just from being an old aircraft. So as I was sweating, that was kind of turning some of that into mud and whatnot. Something we did real important is we mopped everything out when we were all done with fresh water and made sure that there wasn't any sweat residue or salt water or anything like that in there. So what Bruce is doing now is Bruce has got everything stuffed. He's shot that row and he's re-drilling to move the rivets. So he's running as fast as he can because he realizes that I'm percolating inside the aircraft. But he's doing a great job pulling all the tape off. And then what he's got to do is he's working between 3s and 4s. What we did here is we decided we'll do the stringers, which is forward of the bulkhead. Those are all 3s. We'll do the 3s, get those done, and then we'll come back and then do the bulkhead itself. Because a lot of those rivets are actually different lengths, and there was we had to do little adds and deletes and put some in, take some out, try it again. So it's going along pretty good. Later, I ended up putting a ground handling, a BAS tail handle in, and it's I'm glad that we're doing this without the handle installed. Now, if the handle was installed, I might think about actually removing it for the sheet metal work and then just putting it back in. Just drill it out and then reinstall it. So something to think about when you're looking at your work area, what you've got to deal with and all that. We have the aircraft trussed up. I've got on the other side of that white table, there is a trestle, and we've got the aircraft tied to it, strapped to it, and then also you don't really see it, but there you can kind of see it from the bottom of the fuselage there. There's a 2x6 bolted to the propeller going down on the floor to keep the aircraft from tipping up. When you take the tail feathers off and the wings off, the aircraft becomes extremely nose heavy. So on any tail dragger, you've got to watch out. You don't think the tail feathers add much to the equation, but it is sometimes quite troubling in that you don't want to make any more damage to the aircraft. So kind of a thing. So again, Bruce is still working on the stringers, finishing those up, getting those done. He's pretty well got those done. And now we're going to be moving on to the bulkhead. The bulkhead, actually, the riveting goes on fairly easy. The most important thing is if you are reusing the bulkhead, which you probably are, make sure all your flanges are, you tap them out, make sure they're all smooth and flat. Make sure everything is laying down nice and neat, nice tight layups and all that. And we just basically went around the fuselage, shot all the way around the fuselage, and then Bruce took all the Clecos out and then cleaned all the holes. Again, a lot of primer on some of these parts, so we want to make sure that the holes are clean and clear and all the rivets lay down nice. So he's got those all pretty well knocked out. You can see he left the tape on the stringers on the side. That's because he was shot them, done, move on. We'll do that in final fuselage cleanup. This particular fuselage, we think it was painted with some enamel and then possibly some lacquer, so we had to be very mindful of any solvents we used on the fuselage as far as cleaning any kind of any of our mess, so to speak, from our riveting work. So we want to make sure there's no grease or oil or salt residue, so we make sure we wipe it, keep it clean. There he is cleaning the tapes off, getting that all sorted. I'm in there melting still. You can still see the light flashing around. And we're doing the final swing on the bulkhead. So it's coming along. Boom, boom, boom. Again, once you have all your rivets taped in place, you can really knock it out. This is going to be a two-person operation. That's just the way it's going to be. So if you're doing something like this, just make sure you've got somebody that can shoot rivets. Or if you're not good at bucking rivets, somebody that can buck the rivets. Not always, sheet metal may not be your forte, so if you need any help, make sure you reach out and get it. This is only kind of a demonstration of showing you folks what we do. And everything we do, we try to do first class. We don't want to do any kind of third class quality on this stuff. So, kind of crazy, and out I come. Hey guys, so the chore is done. We've got the tail can all disassembled, parts replicated, 21.9, owner produced parts. Everything's acid etch, iodine, primed, assembled, riveted. Right now, we're ready for the most part for paint on the outside. We're in the process of sorting all the cables out, because the cables were, when I threw them all in the back, they got all, it's kind of a bit of a bird nest to get in there. I went in there this morning and Bruce was shooting. You saw Bruce shooting, and we were there, what, 2 hours?
2 hours. Maybe.
2 hours probably shooting. Number 3s and 4s. And that's just basically this bulkhead, all these stringers up here. So it wasn't too bad. It's kind of nice too when all the parts are clean. So it was about 90 degrees?
95.
95 degrees.
Probably pushing
It was a little warm in there. But that's replacing the tail fitting and rebuilding a tail can on a Cessna 120, 140 aircraft. I assume a Luscombe's similar probably. But not for the faint-hearted, but it can be done. And if you have jacked up hardware like we had on this one, you saw that. I think I've got that in episode 1, maybe episode 2. I don't know. But you saw all that. Biggest thing is, I think we lost about 2.5 pounds of weight based on
all the hardware,
all the junk we took off,
the
all the
steel plates.
Yeah, all the steel plates and junk hardware. Took that off. Owner also asked to remove the VR antenna, the vertical fin. That's another maybe quarter pound.
Did find one bad cable that's going to be
Yeah,
replaced.
we found a bad cable, the down cable, so that's going to be fixed. We're also getting rid of some of these pulleys. Are the old bushed pulley, so we're putting the modern MS pulley in with bearings, kind of forever bearings. Biggest thing is that's for down here underneath where nobody will ever. This bearing hasn't seen the light of day for 60 years, 80 years. So anyway, it's going to be pretty much brand new, zero time from here after. So and Bruce is rebuilding you got the tail wheel stack up, which is again that was a pig's breakfast too. So we're getting that the way it's supposed to be. Nothing against a lot of the work. What happens on a lot of these older aircraft, these older, I would say entry-level aircraft, is they're just they don't get any love. The workmanship on them, the folks that owned them probably didn't have a lot of money. There were not a lot of spares. However, with Univer,
available parts.
yeah, no available parts, but we've got Univer. It makes some parts. It makes quite a few parts. And then the owner network, the Facebook group at the International. On this particular aircraft, again, I got to give a plug to the International Cessna 120, 140 Association. If you own a Cessna 120, 140, join the association and become a member. Your dues, you'll get your dues back in the first couple purchases you make on maintaining your aircraft. And again, they've got some subject matter experts that can help you along. So
And actually the tail wheel stack with all the parts is a document that I got from their group. I'm a member as well. And that's what I printed out to rebuild the tail wheel and tail springs and all that.
So Bruce is doing that. He's getting that back. And basically what you're doing, you're conforming it to the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
This aircraft had a checkered past. It did have some damage, and it was maybe stuck in an ice floe somewhere, and they got it home, and they just kept painting it. But now it's actually going to be tip-top shape. So that's what's going on this September 26th in Fredericksburg, Texas, is the Cessna 120, 140 convention. So come on down, and we'll see you guys there. But that's it for us. We're going to sign out. What's left to do now is get the cables untangled and then put the tail feathers on. We'll get some paint on this thing first, and that's it. So kind of reverse of the of taking it apart. No big deal. So we're going to end it here. So that's it. Anyway, HangaRatz out. This plane will fly. Go fly yourself. Go fly yourself. enough of that crap. Okay. Influencer my ass.